abusua mi chana mi san so mu akwa ba so so efa we me channel so hada so e be media je chabu so be so wase ene de di koni channel so ni no bi kwan so be subscribe like na abusua so wa bo a share ma for pense na bi atie no anya bi atie na abusua de enkomo na aba na say breaking news be na ba ifa ekisi ejabin eye di OSP abusua ya de join news e de some script bi e de about so mo de some enkomo bi and say information bi e de about apese yeko na ekotie ne abusua enkomo a atodwa efa ekisi ejabin ho seriously enkomo na no odin pa da so e be media je chabuso be so wase ene de koni channel so abomodi so be subscribe so e de amai bobo notification bell so for more podcast update yentia hono yentia enkomo about temasisia yes
me mao breaking update bi na we every joy news ene publishers after abusua enkomo omodie ni say flyer no so say OSP, that means Office of Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor has survived 2 assassination attempts. Ebusia, that just say, OSP no, or Nyamia Yadom was escape assassination attempt 2, and has been handcuffed and beaten by 17 policemen. Sami Dakun, Director of Research, Strategy and Communication OSP ono na cancel na ochirema OSP kisi ejaben wa escape 7 assassination attempt ana yasa den abono by 7 policemen abushia we from the horse's own mouth eno na that's no nyame sure stay tuned.
Kisi in particular has been there for just a few years. Let me say to his benefit, some people would have taken Tema Refinery for themselves, yes, almost for nothing. I was part of the fight that helped, and it was Kisi who helped us to stop it. There are so many things that I've done. I am the one fighting on behalf of Martin right now. But I'm saying we should not make the mistake. When you have bipartisan, agreement that we should scrap something, with all due respect to my friends in parliament and everything, this is directed at executive corruption at the national level because it tends to come from amongst their midst. I think it's in our interest to keep the OSP and make it better.
Thank you. And so you guys have heard Kofi Bento, right? And I keep saying one thing about it. You say, oh, you are featuring him too frequently. Meanwhile, he's Baumia, so that is MPP. And I keep telling you, Kofi Bento doesn't think like that. Oh. It's like, these your Manasi people. They are difficult to manage. If you think they support you today, so they will support you always, you are wrong. I'm being asked to take a break quickly, then I'll return to Manasseh, Vicky Bright, anonymity. If I want them to believe me more, we should disclose who the person is. Well, I know the person. You know the person. Why did you insist that we should not disclose the person's identity?
Well, because the men and women in that office, they do a lot of covert operations. And it's important that we protect their identity. That's why we have been uncomfortable when even Martin People keeps mentioning names of officers that he meets in the public. Because, like Mr. Fuseni said, they have young families, and this is a very dangerous job. I think this matter is well known. The special prosecutor has survived 2 assassination attempts.
What do you say again?
So the special prosecutor has survived 2 assassination attempts. And yet, there are so many things that we don't put out. Myself, I've been handcuffed and beaten before by 17 police officers, dragged out of my official
police?
Duty. Yeah, in the past.
You that is a police.
I think he has police powers. In the past, because there was a clash, right? So the work that we do is dangerous. Myself, I don't even live at one place. And the same, because people say that you are the face, you are talking, and like Honorable Fuseni said, these people are very powerful. The people we are dealing with, they are very powerful. I'll give you a typical example of one case. There's a case we are doing about fuel diversion, in which people have taken 800 million Ghana, 600 million Ghana, 80 million Ghana, and you're asking them to pay. And they're saying that the money is gone. Sell your assets and bring us the money. And you think that such people, they won't be happy when you are not there. They will be certainly happy, and they are not going to sit down and just allow you to be. We have put before court former commissioner generals. We have put before court one of the most powerful charting a new path on our anti-corruption policy.
And ethics.
So that's the point.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's go on. So let me start with this 2.7 that he doesn't appreciate. I think over and over, we have told Manasseh that there's a big difference between investigative journalism work, which I know how to do as well, and then criminal investigation. And that when investigative journalists do their work, like Anas does his work or he does his work, it's just a spark, which then gives law enforcement agencies some grounds to begin an investigation, and that their investigation may be more thorough and deeper than what you do. And so he should not be insistent as if what he found may be the ultimate truth. So OSP, and he just made a point that OSP has now changed something on his website, and it is completely false because OSP doesn't change things on his website. These are things that we have published, and it's public record. If you go on the OSP's social media account, you know the date it was published. And you notice that it was published way before Manasseh's issue about 2.7 billion. And it is simple because when the OSP was done with this work, we did the calculations based on how much SML would have earned if the contract had not been cancelled. And this calculation is based on a formula that PPA approved. And the formula is based on the 2023 figures for lifting for crude and for gold. Strangely, when it comes to, I think, crude or gold, they do the calculation in cedis. But we do know that everything is done in dollars. And then when it comes to the oil, they do the calculation in dollars. So when we did the calculation based on the 2023 formula, it came up to $173 million for, I think, gold, and 2.6 billion cedis for oil. I don't know if I've mixed them up, but these are accurate figures. So we already put that out very early and said that this is how much Ghana has saved by cancelling the contract. So it's not a Manasseh that has done any calculation or discovered anything, or OSP has now put it up on its website. The dates are there and they are very clear. If I had time, I would have shown you the dates because I can check it immediately. Then we also, in the course of communicating, said that, well, although this is the amount, if you do the official calculation, we've stumbled on some documents that shows that in going to PPA, they had put a ceiling as to how much they would take within the 5 years. And it came up to $2.7 billion. And so it is wrong for us to even say that we saved the nation $173 million and 2.6 billion cedis. But then, because if we are not cancelled, they were going to work within the 2.7 billion. And when you look at the PPA approval, it didn't come with figures. It only came with formulas, right? It came with a formula that you use based on the 2023 left. Liftings could change, so we can understand why they had to put a ceiling of 2.7 billion, because the liftings could change at any time, and we were seeing that they were pecking themselves at the highest level, so that if tomorrow they say $2 billion, when you question, you say that, but they approved the formula based on the letter we gave you and approval. Now, what I think Manasseh is struggling is that he wants OSP to conduct the trial in the open, in the media. We have consistently said that this is a very sensitive case, a very complex case that has taken us almost 2 years or less than 2 years to complete. These are not things we can put out there. SML lawyers are listening. Every time they are sponsoring things on Joy, on TV3 and the rest, they are paying attention to some of these things. So in the criminal investigation and trial, there are certain things you can't just be talking about. But we were putting up the figure to say that even the 173 and the 2.6 billion, they are even low, because if the contract had continued, they were going to earn more. So that's about that one, and I don't know how difficult it is. Then the other one is that I've been wondering, what is it that Manasseh is seeking? You have brought an investigative report. They have taken the work. They've done it. 8 people, including Kenneth Furiata and Enasa Kori, have been charged. Now, your predicament, I don't know what the predicament is that we started the investigation late, and he has given dates, so I'm very happy. Now, he claims that he has a diary of action, which, I mean, I cannot confirm or deny, because as he said...
It's a fact. I've seen it. He has shown it to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I cannot confirm it, because we know that he got...
It's a diary of action.
Yes.
That obviously has been leaked.
I understand.
From your
that's why I'm
offices.
saying that.
He's an
That's why I'm saying that.
journalist.
That's why I'm
So,
saying that.
You know,
Okay,
like,
that's why I'm saying that he has a diary of action that he said that investigation started in preliminary in 29th. Let me give you one example to show how we tell him that he doesn't know how to do the OSP job better than the OSP. Kenoforiata, he was invited on the 24th. He quotes a diary of action and says that a supervisor says that start with preliminary and identify the people who we are going to investigate. And he says it was dated 25th.
of January. 2025.
It tells you that.
And you say that you had written to invite Kenoforiata
even on 24th.
On 24th.
Yes. I'm just giving these things to tell him that it's not as he thinks. So it's true that there's a particular team. A particular team may be assigned a task. The mere fact that
in your law, you refer to them as panels.
Yes, panels, I understand. And then even before, it is not the supervisor of a team that will tell somebody to commence preliminary investigation. It is the SP. If you read LI 2374, it will tell you that after SP has considered the underground work that has been done, that is when he will commence a preliminary. He will say that they should go into preliminary and then full scale. Now, this is a very complex matter.
You're saying that by the time your officers reach out to Manasseh, that we are commencing preliminary investigations, some work would have been done.
A lot of work would have been done.
And so it is wrong for him to assume that that time was when the investigation started.
And I'm saying that for the team...
And that by that time, Kenoforiata had already left the jurisdiction.
Yes.
So you cannot claim that you were powerless and you would have, stopped him, because by that time you had not even started investigating him.
Let me develop the point. So the point I'm developing is that is the special prosecutor that would have given a team a job to do. If that team is given a job to do, say, go and pick something from Manasseh, the problem I think he's having is that he's assuming that he's a star of the investigation, and so by the time he was called on the date he gave, 29th, that he should come, and a particular team talking to him, that's when we started. So that team could say that they are doing their preliminary works. But I'm saying that that preliminary works would have been done by the special prosecutor and then assigning teams. So if a particular team come to you and they use a language such as preliminary works, it doesn't mean that that is when they commence. And I'm saying that this is a complex case that the OSP had to bring in a lot of experts way early. And remember that the OSP too had to wait for the KPMG report to be done and then thoroughly assess it to be sure whether it answers all the questions. Do we need to continue, or the KPMG job does the work? The OSP in its half-yearly report, we continuously brief and say that we had considered the KPMG report. We have come to the conclusion that there's still more case to answer, so we will continue with our investigation. And this was way in 2024. If you read the June half-yearly report,
Manasseh and his team.
Welcome to Malcolm, where shopping is a musical experience.
SML investigations and bring us the expose in 2023 of, was it November?
Yes,
or December?
they filed the petition in
December of 2023.
And SML,
Wait,
the president...
You are saying that the president made an intervention asking for an investigation or an audit by KPMG. That ended sometime when? April of 2024.
No, it ended in March, but the report was finally out in April 2024.
And between that time, you are saying you had done some work. You didn't wait until 2025 to begin work.
Yes, so when they brought the report in I think it's either 25th of December or something, the president had appointed KPMG somewhere 29th, or I've forgotten the date.
So he's telling you that you have said, and when I spoke to Martin, he confirmed that, or he raised that issue as well, that you had said that by the time Ernest Akori was leaving Ghana, he was not a subject of investigation.
Thank you very much.
Wait, he was not a subject of investigation.
Yes.
So you should not be blamed that you watch him to go out.
No,
he is saying Ernest Akori left this country in November of 2024.
He's not saying we told him. A lot of the information.
Just hold on.
Yeah.
If he left at that time, in November of 2024, and by that time, he was not a subject of investigation or a person of interest.
Yes.
How do you convince us that in January of 2025, about 2 months later, Kenuforiata, together with him or whoever, were actually under your radar and you wanted to arrest them, but the powers that be, enabled their escape?
I don't think that we said we wanted to arrest, but I'll explain to you. So another point that Manasseh makes, which is so inaccurate, is the fact that he said something that because there was a letter that was signed by an Sakori, it means that, or he makes the point, and this is where I talk about this thing for glory. The fact that you do a documentary and you see a letter signed by a minister does not automatically mean that the minister has done something wrong. An investigation will need to go into it, because in criminal investigation, merely signing a letter authorizing payment.
But you eventually have charged an Sakori.
Yes, so I'm coming to the point. I'm coming. We charge an Sakori not based on the letter that was signed. And I said that these are you see, a lot of people have not taken time to read the investigative report thoroughly. I can understand it's voluminous, and these things will play out in court. That's why we said that at the time Sakori left, he was not a subject of investigation, and that we won't shy away from it. And Sakori was not a subject of investigation. It doesn't mean that preliminary investigations had not started, and it doesn't mean that at the time of preliminary investigation you discovered an Sakori. You have no idea. When we were able to pin a lot of people. Okay.
So he raised these issues on a question of trust.
I understand.
But these issues are not exactly the subject for which I asked the question. So let me come to Kofi Bento. Kofi, I said that, please hold on. You have spoken for quite a while, but I understand you had already told me that, Martin has spoken for too long, but you are here on a panel. Now, again, I asked that question I asked to Manasseh. Let's go back to the story we want to talk about today. Whose report do you believe? Why and why not?
I believe Martin. It does not even mean he's right in everything he's done. But I think he is within his rights. Those two things are different. He may not be right. He may ultimately be proven not to be right in the things he's done. But he is within his rights. And the OSP, as a public office, is not conducting themselves, at least to the standard that we expect, for instance. Let me just take what has just happened. You see, Manasseh says something. He says, you said at a point you couldn't stop these people because you were not giving help. That's one.
It's not.
I beg you, let me finish. You couldn't stop them. You didn't get help. Then you said, oh, Master.